this is Sarah.
And this is Rachel.
And this is the Rippah Diaries, a podcast where we rip apart, episode by episode, the Vampire Diaries. Warning, this is a rewatch podcast, so there are potentially spoilers ahead for any point in the series.
This week, we're talking about Season 1, Episode 9, History Repeating. In this week's episode, Bonnie is being haunted by the necklace, the crystal, the token, whatever they call it, and Emily, of course. And Matt and Caroline have more drama, and most importantly, I think, we finally get to meet Alaric. I forget he comes in so late. Like, I always think he's there the episode after Tanner dies.
Yeah, he feels like a character that was in the series for the entirety of its
Yes.
run. I mean, he's literally had the longest run. He was in Legacies.
Yeah.
Like, he's been in it forever. So, yeah, it is weird that it took so long for him to get here.
Yeah.
But now he's back.
Yes.
Or here for the first time, I guess.
He's back to us, arrived for the first time to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, he also just has such a great introduction.
Mm-hmm.
We first, see him say, like, oh, you can call me Rick, whatever. Yeah. And, like, he's sort of giving, like, I'm trying to be a cool teacher, which can go either way. But then he has the whole thing with Jeremy where he gives him the opportunity to do extra credit. And I'm like, this is what a good teacher should be like.
Yes, that was exactly my thoughts. Is like, wow, he actually is such a good teacher in this point, and just such a good person, I think.
Yeah,
we don't
definitely
get a great sense of it, but it does seem like it, at least in regards to Jenna and to Jeremy. And that really goes downhill in season 3 after multiple bad events happen. He becomes a drunk and whatever. We'll get to that point eventually.
Yeah, that'll happen.
But for now, he is like just this great, cool, like, would have loved to have him as a teacher.
Yeah, definitely. No, he's so easy to talk to. We see them also later after he gives Jeremy the other chance, or the chance to do extra credit. We see him, hanging out in the grill, and then Jeremy and Jenna are together, and they get to talk. And the three of them talk. They talk about the project.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's just so cool. He's so easygoing.
Yeah.
Which I think it's so funny that he does tell the students to call him Rick, because there's a moment in season 2 where Elena calls him Rick, which is, it's actually Klaus in Alaric's body.
That's true.
So that's an aside. But she calls him Rick, and people look at her like she's like weird for it.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, they do call him Mr. Saltzman. Like, I remember in season 2, like Dana or whatever her name is always calling him like Mr. Saltzman. Which also is not that much of a mouthful of a name. I feel like it's really not that hard to say.
No, especially not just the last name. Like, Saltzman? It's not that bad.
Saltzman is pretty easy. And Alaric, it's a different name, I suppose. But once you hear it, I feel like you don't forget that that's how you pronounce it.
No,
so
not
it's
really.
just funny that he walks in. Oh, yeah, it's a mouthful. It's a really bad name.
Yeah, Alaric Saltzman. It's like it's a cool guy. It's mysterious. It's different. It's not just like, men have like 3 names. It's not one of the 3 names men have, so it's kind of fun.
Yeah, like what's Mr. Tanner's first name? Probably like Joe.
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, it's like Joe or Jim Tanner. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Also Tanner.
J name for sure. Yeah, Tanner.
It's probably Danny Tanner. I don't know.
Danny Tanner. No, but yeah, he immediately also positions himself as being the complete opposite of Mr. Tanner. Yeah. Tells Jeremy about the Jackass file that is an opus to Jeremy. Oh my God.
Ridiculous. I don't understand why Mr. Tanner, like, had it out for Jeremy. As far as I can tell, he just, like, slacked off and wasn't a great student for, like, 3 months also.
After his parents died. Yeah. How many times can we say that? Like,
yeah, it just makes no sense. A whole file dedicated to Jeremy being a jackass? What?
Yeah, Jeremy, as far as we know, Jeremy mostly skipped class. Which,
exactly.
Of anything, is, like, one of the laziest, like, attempts at ruining a class or whatever you could make. Like, that's not disrupting the class at all. He's just not showing up. Yeah,
he's really doing nothing. Like, I don't know. I that's why I feel like he had some personal vendetta, but why? I don't know.
But why? I don't know. It's weird. Yeah. But either way, Jeremy, it's like the perfect timing for him because, of course, we know from the last few episodes he's been like very changing. He wants to turn around his grades. He cares about school again. Yes. So it's the perfect timing to have Alaric show up right now and be really willing to like listen to him and help him turn it around. If it had still been Tanner, Jeremy was failing that class either way. Like
for sure.
There was no making up for it.
Yeah. Maybe even if he had always been a good student. Who knows?
Literally.
Probably all of those students were failing with Mr. Tanner.
They probably were. But Alaric, he's written extra credit on the board for everybody to see. He's ready. He tells him to write a paper about anything that he's interested in related to history, which is like, okay, cool guy assignment. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. So Jeremy now gets to pick his own topic, which he tells Jenna about. And she, of course, suggests that, look at your old family history. Your dad was really into that. He's collected a bunch of diaries, journals, and you could write something really interesting on that, which, first of all, would love to do that. I'm a history nerd, and that would be so fun.
Yeah, I don't even like history, but it, failed the AP US history exam. But that is such a cool project. It's just so... It's so different. In the school projects where teachers would give you so much latitude were always the best. So I feel like...
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's just allowing you to find the interest.
Yeah, exactly. And because you can write on anything.
Exactly. Well, and I think he did say local history focused. He suggested it. I'm sure he would have accepted any paper, but he was kind of saying, there's lots of rich history.
Yeah,
which is also just cool that he is interested in that and encourages him to do that.
Yeah.
And Jenna encourages him further, which also gets Jenna even more flirty, batty eyes at Alaric at the diner at the grill.
I love her. They have the little introduction when Jeremy's still there and the three of them get to talk, and then we later see Jeremy leave, and then Jenna approaches Alaric on her own. She's so real for this. She immediately is like, let me tell you about this guy, Logan.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, but then he totally vibes with it. It's let me tell you about my dead wife who's missing.
Yeah, it's a cold case. They never found her. It works.
It vibes so well. And they carry that through to when they go home later. He brings her home. Yeah. And at the doorway, they're talking about how pathetic they were and how nerdy they were in high school. They just vibe. They're like, we're both just lame, but not lame anymore. And it's really cute. They match energy really well.
They really do. I was thinking this whole episode, they both have really good chemistry with each other. Amazing. And also, it just reminded me, Jenna deserves so much more. I'm I love their relationship. And when it starts off and it's so... pure and
it's so good
before it gets ruined.
So here's the thing, though, we only think that as rewatchers. I think the first time watching this, you come at it from, you still like them, but obviously you have no idea what's going on with him. True. Because that moment is a big moment where they come to the house, she's about to invite him in, and she says, actually, I shouldn't, Jeremy's here, you're his teacher, that's weird. So I won't invite you in. And he just hovers in the doorway. So you're supposed to suspect he hasn't been invited in.
Yeah, he can't come in. Not just that he won't.
Exactly.
And that he's respecting Jen's wishes. Yeah, he can't.
And they drop another hint earlier in the episode with the ring. Exactly. Jeremy very, obviously calls out his ring. They do a close-up of it. It's a big, antique-looking ring, very similar to Damon and Stefan's. Yes. So they're clearly dropping hints. Even on a rewatch, you're oh yeah, I'm supposed to be thinking that he's a vampire. Yeah. That he's up to something. Yeah. We're not supposed to have any sort of clue what he is or what he's doing, but 100% you're supposed to think he's a vampire.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's why they're sort of giving him this cool air, aura, I guess is the word I'm trying to go for. But air, I don't know. Yeah. And they're trying to make him seem he's a vampire, interesting, which is really funny because at the end of the episode, Jenna has her little run-in, but it's an interesting parallel.
Yeah, of course.
But we'll get to that later.
The only other thing to say on that is Jeremy does start going through the boxes to get his research going, and he does find a very important relic in Vampire Diaries, the diary of Jonathan Gilbert from 1864. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, when Jenna suggested that Jeremy do the project in the first place, I forgot that these weren't already introduced because they're just so integral to the entire show.
Yeah,
that's how they learn most things.
Yeah, for the next, at least all the way through season 2, they're learning stuff from the diary. Yeah. So, it becomes such a key element of the story, and this is the first episode it's introduced. Jeremy has unearthed it. Very exciting.
Yes. Lots to unfold
we'll talk about there. Related to Jonathan Gilbert, same time, same place, Emily Bennett.
Yes, Emily.
Big Emily episode.
Yeah, I love Emily. She's kind of fun, especially in the flashbacks and everything. Mm-hmm. But she's so scary in this episode.
Oh my god. The first time that I watched this episode.
Oh my god. Terrified.
I was 13, mind you. Yeah. So it probably was genuinely the scariest thing I'd ever watched. Yes. I was shocked. This was an episode of horror for me.
No, it was a horror television show in this episode. They went out of genre, but it was amazing. It was so good.
Like it. I mean, it works really well. It's also this is the first ghost episode, right? Maybe we had some hints at Emily before, but this is the first ghost episode, which prompts itself to horror and to scary stuff. So it works.
Even more so than the vampires and witches thing.
Yeah, the already scary elements. Ghosts crosses a line.
Yes.
So much more scary. So we start this episode with the same thing that we ended the last episode on, which is Emily is appearing to Bonnie in her dreams. Yes. And she's making her wake up in cemeteries, like, or I guess this time it's the old church ruins. She wakes up literally like in the church ruins. And she tells her, this is where it started. This is where it has to end. Yes. Help me. Yes. It's pretty great. The dream, though, is so scary where she's like, and it's like a dream inside a dream. I think this was the same year Inception came out, so it was like of the vibe.
they were really trying to recreate something.
Yeah, they definitely were. It was of the moment. So she's like sleeping in class, has the dream where she's at the church or whatever. Then she like tells this girl, turn around, stop looking at me. Like, great Bonnie moment. But it's a dream, and then Emily's there, and then she wakes up again, and it's just, like, keeps escalating. Poor Bonnie.
Yeah. No, poor Bonnie. I love this episode because it is so Bonnie-focused, but I'm like, she goes through it in this episode.
I mean, to be fair, anytime an episode is focused on anyone, they're going through it. It's bad.
True.
It's not good if an episode is focusing on you.
You don't want it to focus on you,
But Bonnie, when she's getting focused on, she gets it like 10 times worse than I feel like other characters do.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, her ending in this episode and oh my gosh, all of her other episodes.
The next few episodes, it's going to be a rough time for Bonnie. Yeah. And then we've got Caroline, who's just like showing up at school that morning, talking to Elena, being like, I'm mad at Bonnie and like,
about the crystal.
Give me the necklace. Yeah, she doesn't care about Damon anymore, but she still cares about the necklace for some reason.
Which Caroline forgets that all of the horrible things she said to Bonnie, I guess, but beside the point.
Caroline's just being high school Caroline.
Yes.
And Elena's like, I want nothing to do with it. But she kind of gives Caroline the update that she's dealing with all of this Stefan drama right now. Yeah. Which, of course, meanwhile, Stefan's not at school. He's just hanging out with Damon shirtless for some reason.
Yes.
Just gotta show the abs, obviously.
Yeah, looking very much not like a 17-year-old, but that's okay.
Literally. And they start this whole bit of, like, imitating each other. And this is, like, one of my favorite episodes in terms of, like, this is the episode that makes you fall in love with the brotherhood of Stefan and Damon. This is the Salvatore Brothers episode. Yeah. It's great.
No, they have such a strong start. And Damon also even says, which I love, he's like, why can't we just get back to the brother thing? We used to do it really well. And I'm like, you obviously don't really know much about it at this point. Yeah. But it's like, you're right. Damon's right. They should just be friends.
I know. They are so great when they're friends. Yes. And obviously this episode they can't be friends because, Stefan alludes to it at the start of the episode. Yeah. Like, I just killed your oldest and dearest friend.
Yeah.
So not really getting along. No. But because there's like a larger mission at hand for both of them, they're sort of playing nice. And we do get to see what it's like when they just sort of spend time together. And it's great. They have so much fun.
No, it's so good.
I love it.
Yeah, no. And Stefan is originally against the idea, of course, but then
it comes into play.
It comes into play. They're two schemes. They're two parallel schemes, of course.
Because a lot is still going on at the high school with all the drama. Bonnie fills in Elena with everything that's going on. She says, like, well, Grams would just tell me to go with it. She would just be like, embrace it.
Be like, embrace it, be a witch. Be Emily's vessel, I guess.
Yeah. So Elena's getting like increasingly worried about Bonnie and with everything going on there.
Yes. And Stefan does show up to the school to talk to Elena.
Yeah.
And while Stefan is there talking to Elena, Damon comes to just harass Bonnie. I'm wondering this whole time, did they carpool? Like, did they both?
I know, I was wondering that together? Too. I was like, they definitely just decided they were going to spend the whole day together. And we're like, well, I got to talk to Elena. Well, I got to talk to Bonnie.
So I guess
they just went together.
Yeah.
Because they're there at the same exact time.
Yep.
And Damon's just asking about the necklace. And we start to kind of get some hints about a larger thing going on. Not anything actually, but he just says, a deal's a deal. Tell Emily I said a deal's a deal. So it's like, he has a deal with Emily. Of course, by the end of the episode, we know what that is.
Yes.
But he's starting to hint at it much more heavily than we've seen in the past.
Yes. So and he's really putting the pressure on Bonnie and is really trying to get it. Obviously doesn't do anything to her because the last time the crystal like zapped him or whatever. I don't know. But Yeah, he threatens Bonnie, and then, of course, Bonnie tells Elena, like any friend would, and Elena tells Stefan.
Of course.
And that's where Stefan's scheme comes into play, because Stefan and Elena put together that it's Emily's necklace from 1864 that she gave to Katherine, and somehow it's tied up in this whole thing, and Stefan the investigator, he's on the case.
He's always a scientist. He always has to figure out what's at the root of something.
Yes, exactly.
So that's what he is on a mission to do in this episode. He's like, I gotta figure this out now. I have to go figure out what Damon's up to.
Yes.
And that sets the whole sort of episode up for Stefan and Damon, that now, like, okay, they're gonna do this. They're gonna spend the whole time together. Stefan is going to go find Damon at the grill, and they continue their little bit of acting like each other. It's so great. Stefan does, like, Damon's smoldery eyes. Like,
yes,
he keeps, like,
and he does it really well.
He actually does it pretty well. That's the perk of, like, being actors and spending all that time together. You know, you start to, like, know how to imitate the other person. It works really well. Then we also, of course, get Damon, who's doing this stilted pain Stefan voice. My life is torture. Yes. He nails that, too, pretty well.
Yes, they both nail it. It's so good.
Which he says. He's like, I'm not very good at I don't remember how he says it. He's like, I'm not very good at the channeling the pain that entails, or something like that. The torturedness.
Yeah, something along those lines. And it's
very
like,
accurate.
Yeah, very
Stefan.
accurate, but also, yes, you are, Damon.
Yeah, just as tortured. We'll see that at the end of the episode.
Yes.
But for now, they're playing darts and pretending everything's good, hanging out at the grill, just pretending to be each other.
Yep. Stefan's apparently been spending the last 145 years being amazing at darts.
Yeah.
They draw a little scoreboard and it says, Stefan, 50-50, Damon, 1.
Yeah. No, it's so good. And Damon does say that, like, how did you get so good at darts? And Stefan's like, decades of practicing and honing the skill, which I'm like, wonderful use of your time, Stefan.
Yeah.
But also, same, I probably would do that too.
Yeah,
I'd be
not?
learning all of these random dates and memorizing things and playing darts.
Yeah.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, gotta pass the time somehow.
And the other way is playing catch football with your brother.
Yes.
This is when the scene really starts to get to you. This is the real, like, okay, brothers.
Yeah, the playing the darts is fun, but the football playing catch, especially because we've already seen the flashback, it's just it's so much more emotional. It's so much more nostalgic.
Yes.
It's just everything. I love that scene. And they also, like, just when they fall down, and they just,
so cute.
Yeah, it's so cute. I don't know.
It's so cute. And Damon says it too. He's like, okay, what's going on? We drank all day.
Yeah.
We're playing football.
Yeah, because Stefan's not fun.
The stars. Yeah, Stefan's not fun unless it's without, like, an ulterior motive.
Exactly.
So, yeah, he's like, what is going on? And Stefan, doesn't want to reveal his cards too soon. So he brings up Katherine, which I don't know how that was any better than just revealing what this was actually about.
Yeah.
But he says that their love for Katherine wasn't real. That it took him many years to realize that they didn't love Katherine, that it was compulsion, that they didn't feel anything true for her. Which Damon doesn't really comment on in that moment. He's just like, I don't want to talk about this. But you get the sense, like, and as we've gotten the sense throughout the series that Stefan just hasn't, for whatever reason, believed, is like, whether or not it was real for Damon still 100% believes it was real.
Yes. Yeah.
So, the vibes get a little bit more, like, tense in that moment. Yeah. Damon kind of threatens to kill him, as usual.
Of course.
And then Stefan has to kind of reveal his cards and mention the crystal.
Yeah.
Which is a sign to Damon, who's like, wait, like, how do you know about the crystal? How did you know that was Katherine's? And it was, of course, because Damon, I think, says that she got it the last night. Mm-hmm. That last day, and Damon was with her on her last day. She was the last one to see her, supposedly. I don't know why he assumes that.
Yeah, I don't know why. Especially once we find out, like, how their story ends.
Yeah.
Or Katherine's story in 1864 ends.
Well, I think that's the thing. She probably, like, slept with Damon earlier
and then
that night, and then slept with Stefan. And so it's like, he just assumed, she's wild. He just assumed, like, oh, well, like, I was with her that night. Who else could have been with her? Of course, Stefan was. But yeah, so conversation gets continually more tense. And then, of course, that's when they acknowledge, like, something's going on with the crystal. This is Damon's plan. He kind of has to reveal his cards now. And he says that he made a deal with Emily, that there's a tomb under the church.
Yes.
Everything. This is the plot is in motion. I'm so excited. The plot is here.
Yeah, the tomb is revealed that it even exists. He says, I'm going to bring her back. So we know that Katherine is down there in this moment.
Yes, and Katherine is alive.
Yes, Catherine's alive. He also reveals that he needed the comet to pass for the crystal to be activated or something like that.
I actually feel like this was the first time watching that scene that I understood what they were saying. I feel like every time I watch it, because we watch the show all the time, so we most recently watched it a few months ago. And when we watched it a few months ago, self-report, I remember when we watched it a few months ago, we had a whole conversation not understanding the comet and the crystal and how it was linked. Like,
I forgot it was even part of it.
Yeah, we were confused. But then, so this time, it was so fresh in my head that when I was watching it, I was like, okay, wait, I think I get it now. Yes. The crystal has to charge from the comet, is what Damon says. It's like the power released with the comet charges the crystal. Now the crystal is activated. It doesn't matter that it's been a couple weeks or however long it's been since the comet
it's like
passed.
Turned on, basically.
Yeah, basically was like turned on. And so in 1864, Emily charged the crystal with that comet, used that to do the tomb spell in 1864. That, and no more magic. It has to wait 100 and whatever years to get charged again. Now it's gone charged again, and it's ready to be channeled for magic. I feel so smart. I'm like, I
finally understand it. I don't know why. It's not really that confusing, but I just never really... Well, also, I think the other problem is the night of the comet, it just kind of happens. You don't know anything about his plan, and it's, the second episode? It happens so quickly. You just don't know enough about it, I think. So, I only finally realized, I feel like I got it on this watch.
Well, I also think part of it is, too, the first watch, it just doesn't mean anything. It's like, okay, he needed the comet, he needed the crystal, whatever. But as you start rewatching, you're like, wait, but, most of the times when a witch needs a celestial event, they have to do the spell that night to channel it. Right. That's why I think we were getting confused, because it's like, if you need to harness the energy of the comet, you should have done the tomb spell that night.
The night of the,
But no, the comet is just charging the necklace that at a later date will get channeled. It's just very weird. We haven't seen magic done that way.
It's very different.
Any other time. So it throws me, but now I'm like, okay, I got it. I understand what they were doing now.
Yeah, exactly. Also, if you're a first watcher, which I hope you're not if you're listening to our podcast, but on a first watch, you also don't really know about tying magic to celestial events at this point. So
that's true. It's not that crazy to throw out there.
Yeah, it's not even really clear how that would even work in the first place.
You're also probably so thrown by the Katherine stuff.
That's true.
There's too many other things getting introduced that, him just throwing out that the comet was a part of it. You're like, oh, okay, I don't know. I'm still thinking about the Katherine thing, that she's been in a tomb for 140 years.
Which we haven't really seen full desiccation yet, so we don't even know what that looks like.
Exactly. Yeah, we saw the barest taste of it when Damon was locked up. He was not even near desiccation. He was just sweaty. I don't know.
He was just still getting in Caroline's mind somehow, so he was fine.
So he was pretty much fine. He had so much blood in his system, I think, that 4 days drying out was basically nothing.
No.
So, we haven't seen yet what 140 years under in a tomb will do to a person, to a vampire. So, lots of new things getting introduced.
Yes.
And some old things. We always got the girl drama, the high school teenage girl drama.
Yes.
Which I will say, love.
Oh,
so
I love
fun.
it. I love it. It's too real.
It's too real. It's the representation that I need.
No, I know. I'm like, I really feel seen in this moment. Just watching them interact.
Yes.
Especially just, I don't know, some of Caroline's bluntness. And just the way she says things, where you just kind of embellish and you're just dramatic about everything.
Oh my god, so real.
It's just so funny.
It's so real. So I don't know if we've said yet, they're having the sleepover
while the boys are bonding.
The boys are bonding, because earlier in the episode when Elena and Bonnie were talking about the necklace and how she was freaked out and the nightmares and whatever, she pulls over on the side of the road, throws the necklace out into a field, and Elena's like, I don't feel comfortable with you, staying by yourself.
Yes.
You need to be with somebody. Let's just have a whole girls' night of it.
Yeah.
So she's coming over so that, Elena can keep an eye on her. I don't know if she's going to stay up all night and make sure she doesn't walk to the cemetery again or what, but that's the plan.
Yeah.
But I think unknown to Bonnie, Caroline is also invited to the sleepover.
Which is also a very classic
high school girl thing. Yeah, like I feel like I really relate to Elena in this episode.
Oh my gosh.
You know, she's just being this peacekeeper, and she forces Caroline to come, and she also forces Caroline to apologize about the necklace right at the start. So they have this sort of tense little interaction in the kitchen while they're unpacking their food. They got takeout, also classic girl sleepover night, and they say they're going to do each other's nails, and Bonnie brought her stuff, so Caroline goes to get in her bag, and she finds the necklace in the bag, and she just turns around and says, "Why are you such a little liar, Bonnie?"
Oh my God.
Caroline is just always right to the point.
She's very blunt. I will give her that.
She's not mincing her words.
No. Basically, every scene we have from Caroline in this first season reminds me of the earlier episode 3, I think it was, when Elena says to Damon, "Caroline has some really annoying traits, but she's still my friend."
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I see that.
Elena's really loyal for this whole really episode. So yeah, she finds the necklace and she's just like, liar.
Yes.
But Bonnie and Elena are freaked out because they saw the necklace get thrown into the field. And Elena confirms that. She's like, I saw her do it. Like, it's not, something's going on here. And Caroline's like, you know, somebody explain this to me. I don't understand. Like, it just seems like you're lying. And so then, you know, Bonnie and Elena are kind of talking on the side, like, oh, Emily, like, this must be Emily. And then Bonnie,
I'm trying so hard to not just burst.
I know, I just want to laugh. I can't even talk about it. But Bonnie turns to Caroline and says, "I'm a witch." And Caroline says, "And don't we all know it?" Caroline, I have nothing to say. I don't know how to talk about it.
That's a mic drop. There's nothing more to say.
And don't we all know
it? She
was fast with that one.
She was. Yeah, Caroline is quick-witted also.
She is, but she's using it for evil.
Yes.
Because later, I mean, I think like in like season 3, 4 especially, she becomes like one of the real masterminds of the team. Yeah. Like she is constantly the one who's like piecing things together, figuring things out first. She's so smart.
She's so smart. She's quick.
Right now, though, she's using it for bad purposes. Yes. So, you know, immediately Elena's trying to like break them up, and Bonnie's just like, this is serious. And they get into a whole fight. Yep. We come back later, and Bonnie's just sitting by herself in the living room, sad, basically.
A girls' sleepover classic.
Oh my God. Did you even go to a girls' sleepover if one person didn't leave the room all upset and the other person had to come apologize? And it was a whole event for like an hour. Yes. That like ruined the night. But then eventually somebody apologizes and then it's fine. Yeah. And then you forget about it. Yeah. No, so accurate. So accurate. So, and Caroline does say, I'm like, she apologizes and she says, I say this knowing that Elena's in the next room listening to every word I say, which again, so accurate. Oh my God.
No, she's so good. They really like knew what they were doing with teen female friendship.
Oh my God, scene. Yes. Like especially like a female friendship trio. Yeah. Like I've been in several female friendship trios in my life, and they've got it down pat. Like they know what's going on.
They know exactly how.
Right down to the fact that like right now Caroline and Bonnie aren't getting on, and Elena's good, but in a few episodes that flips, and Caroline and Bonnie are solid, and Elena and Bonnie don't get along. So like. They know what's going on. It's so good.
No, they know it's so good. Yeah.
It's so accurate.
Yeah. Julie Pleck, I see you. You've been in female friendship trios.
You've had female friendship. And so then, you know, once Caroline apologizes, she's like, I'm all in. I'm good with the magic stuff. I don't believe it, but if you believe it, I'm in. So let's do a seance.
She's unhinged for this.
She went to 0 from 100 on that. She wasn't like, let's do some tarot cards. Let's have a seance. Let's do a palm reading. Let's do a seance. Let's literally call upon the dead and see what they want from you, Bonnie.
Yeah, which they do it for some reason. It wouldn't be me. Like, if someone had suggested a seance at the sleepovers I'd been to, no. Immediately no.
No, see, I'm such, like, a witchy person, and I was definitely into, like, trying, like, tarot and palm readings and, like, you know, lighter than a feather, stiffer than a board. Of course. Whatever. But I never, like, if an Ouija board came out, I was like, absolutely not. I would never do a seance. There's some things you don't mess with, and that's one of them. And it's especially weird that Bonnie and Elena, like 3 episodes ago, said that they don't even want to be a witch, and here they are like, well, yeah, let's do a
Might
seance.
as well call on the dead. I don't know.
I think it speaks more to Caroline's overpowering personality.
Yes,
that
is probably true. That is a good point.
I think that's the main point. So they do their setup in Elena's room.
Of course.
They, for some reason, put candles directly on the wood floor and just burn them with the wax all over the floor, which just angers me.
Again, wild for that.
Teenage girls.
I probably would have. I probably would have done something like that too.
Yeah, it's just wild. So they start doing their little seance, and Caroline tells Bonnie to call out to Emily, and she says, "Emily, you there?" It's so good.
It's really good.
And Caroline calls her out for it, and then she does like a proper, "Emily, we call to you."
Yes.
Strange things start happening.
Yes, the candles light up, of course, which we know is a witch power. It's a classic sign of a witch power.
Oh, classic. Especially the Bennetts.
Yeah, that's
all
always
about
their
fire.
move.
Yeah, so they ignite the flame bigger.
There's a draft. We see Caroline gets like a chill.
Yeah.
And Bonnie tries to say, it's the AC.
It's the AC.
Poor Bonnie.
Bonnie the actual witch. It's the AC. It's like, it's nothing.
No, it's just fine. It's fine.
But this is also so accurate to Teenage Girl Sleepover. Like, even though I didn't dabble in any actual witchy things like this level, I was still, I remember those moments where you're like, something's going on. Stop.
Yeah.
I also just love so many of the visuals here. I mean, again, I'll say it 1,000 times. I love magic. I love witches. And this scene really hits, like, it hits really good for me.
No, it's a great scene.
The moment when the candles light up and they all, like, throw their hands back to, like, back off. Like, something about that visual is so strong to me. And I just love the way it looks. I love the way it feels.
Yeah.
It's really great. And then, of course, the windows fly open and the candles go out and it's all darkness.
Yes.
And the necklace disappears by the time they get the lights back on.
Yes.
Spooky.
Yeah, very spooky. So the crystal's gone, the lights are out, and then Elena sees like a figure, shadow, go by the door of her room. Mm-hmm. So she kind of goes out there to check and see if Jeremy's out there or something. And Bonnie looks over to Elena's little bathroom that she has and sees the crystal lying on the bath mat. So she goes in there to get it and see what's going on. And she gets locked in there, is screaming for her life. This scared me so much.
Yeah.
I was like, I might not be able to watch this episode. Especially the first watch. Oh my god.
I was going to say, even this time.
No, not
the
this
20th
time.
watch?
This time I was like, I know we'll get through. this, Bonnie. But on the first watch.
It's scary.
Well, because she's screaming.
Yeah, you also don't see inside the bathroom at all. You just see the girls on the outside, and they're scared. And they're running around every single door, checking all the doors. Yeah. They're all locked. Yeah. It's freaky.
It is very freaky. But finally, the doors unlock or unseal, whatever, and the door opens, and we see Bonnie in there, and she has her face in her hands for a few seconds, like a solid 30 seconds, and then she's just, I'm fine. It's fine.
And Caroline's like, you're such a faker. You're a liar.
Yeah, you had me scared half to death. Yeah. Like, me too, but it's real. And so Caroline storms off, whatever, and then Bonnie starts to follow her, and then we finally see in the bathroom, and we see Emily in Bonnie's reflection.
Yeah.
So we know, of course, Emily has possessed Bonnie. Mm-hmm. The girls don't know yet, but yeah, so Bonnie starts to leave after Caroline. Caroline, basically storms out, and Elena's trying to get them to stop. She's like, guys, don't ruin the sleepover. Yeah. Not literally, but...
Yeah, you can't leave.
Yeah, you can't leave. I don't want you to both, be haunted. Yeah. And Elena, that girl, she's seen a horror movie because she knows.
Intuitive.
Yes, she's very intuitive. Yes. No, she really is. And she realizes, she's like, Bonnie. She's calling out to her. And then she says, Emily. And she turns.
So good.
It's so good.
They should have. I wish they didn't show her in the mirror. Because I feel like that was a better, impactful, whoa, Emily's in Bonnie's body.
Yeah.
But
I kind of wish that too.
It's still good.
Yeah. I mean... It was on the CW. It's
CW.
for teens.
But they didn't need to do it.
No, they didn't need to do it. But again, being catered toward teens, I get it. But I know but even still, the turning when she says Emily is really good. It's really well done.
Yeah, and Kat Graham as Bonnie, is so good.
She's so good.
We finally get to see some acting chops from her other than just being a bully.
Yes. No, I was thinking, I was like, I do love Kat Graham in this episode a lot. In most, but especially this one. It's a good episode for her.
Because she gets some variety. She gets to do something a little different. So it works really nicely. And she's getting
more story.
Yeah, which we always love.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Caroline's just oblivious to all of this going on. She's just like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, she's out. Bonnie has left. She said to Elena she's about to leave. She's like, I can't let him do it.
Yeah, like I have to stop him.
Yeah, I have to stop him. Yes.
Elena knows what she means.
Elena, she gets the gist. So she calls up Stefan, of course, and she's like, and again, this is while they're at the football field.
So Damon is unfortunately within earshot, whatever.
Earshot. And he hears Elena tell Stefan that Bonnie/Emily is going to the tomb. The Fells Church ruins.
Yeah, that and I don't know if she says what she's going to do, but I think, he gets enough of the gist of it through the call from Elena that, she's going to stop him. She's got the necklace and she's going to stop him. So
Emily does not want this to go down.
Yeah, so, Damon immediately races into the woods to the cemetery to find her. And they're pretty much both ready to break the deal at this point. Damon by killing Bonnie and Emily by destroying the crystal and not allowing him to get into the tomb. So things are pretty strife at this moment.
Yes.
I also have to say I love the music at this part. It's like the original score.
Oh, and the scoring is really good.
I think it's the Tomb Vampire theme. I don't know. I'm going to have to look it up. Like, I never know which themes are, like, supposed to be associated to which, I don't know, characters or plot lines or whatever. And I think this one is technically, like, the Tomb Vampires theme. It's just so good. It has such, like, a creepy, suspenseful aura. And it works really well in, like, a night scene like this where it's, like, really tense.
Yeah.
Especially on a first watch. You don't know what's going to happen to Bonnie. It kind of seems like she could die any second.
Yes.
They probably originally intended for her to die any second.
Unfortunately, probably true.
Yeah.
But no. It's literally, like, witch and vampire powers coming head to head. Luckily, the witch aneurysms they can do and like always win. They always win.
Which is also so exciting to see Emily and Bonnie's body because now we're seeing some real magic.
Yes, like real power, not just I'm lighting up the candles in a room or floating feathers.
We see a full-on incendia.
Yes,
with a pentagram.
Incendia. Yes.
It's
it's really good. It's for all of the witch lovers. It's top tier episode.
Top tier magic.
Yeah.
And Emily reveals that there are 26 vampires down in the tomb. 26. I think it's actually 25 because Katherine isn't down there. But still, like a whole classroom worth of vampires are down there. And she says that bringing one back, like if he just tried to get Katherine, it would bring them all back. And she does not want that to happen. Yes. It will like bring evil to Mystic Falls. So she's pretty dead set on stopping it. Damon's pretty dead set on stopping her.
Yep.
At this point, Elena shows up, late to the party as usual.
Yes, Stefan has also showed up.
Yes, and Emily Bonnie tosses the necklace into the sky. It, like, blows up. She's, we assume destroyed it. Yeah, she does the incendia on it. And the second that happens, Damon rushes forward and bites Bonnie and starts drinking her blood. And Stefan immediately jumps in to save her. He gives her blood. Elena's just standing there. I don't know, but she's obviously really unhappy. I think there's like one quick shot of her giving like a really upset look at Damon because like obviously she just saw her best friend get attacked.
Yeah.
Is this the first? So this isn't the first time we've seen a vampire heal somebody, but it's like the first time in a suspenseful moment like this.
Yeah, first time in like an urgent moment because we do see Damon heal Vicky when he tells her to stop bleeding all over the couch.
Yeah.
But this is the first time it's one, seemingly really urgent, and two, I feel like it's just more explicit than when he heals Vicky.
You full on see her neck like heal.
Yeah, you
like,
really
you see
it.
The whole thing happen.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty like notable healing moment.
Definitely.
And it's where Elena gets some clarity too. She asks like, is she a vampire now?
Yes.
It's like, no, as long as she doesn't die, she's fine.
Yeah, which Stefan says it's not likely that she's going to turn into a vampire or something like that where it's like, it'll never happen. It's like, Stefan, this is how so many people get turned into a vampire. They
Literally
just happen to have the blood in their system.
Exactly.
But beside the point.
Beside the point, Stefan and Elena are just having awkward vibes, this awkward conversation, which they had a whole awkward conversation earlier in the episode at school. He stopped by to tell Elena that he wasn't going to be going to school anymore. You know, he's going to, like, leave so she'd be safe. And she's all mad at him, and he's like, "You're angry, that's good. It'll be easier if you hate me."
Oh my god, Stefan.
He's so annoying.
No, oh my god. It's too much. Like, it's not this dramatic.
He's always drama, though. And you know who else is always drama? Caroline.
Yes.
Who also this whole episode has been over dramatic about her and Matt.
Oh
and
my god,
she's confronting Matt about... I don't even know, about him saying hi.
Hey. Yeah, all of these things.
Yeah.
Where it's like, Matt is just behaving normally and treating her like he's treated her for years.
Yeah.
But Caroline's like,
She's insecure.
Yeah, she's very insecure. She's very insecure.
And that's basically what Matt says. He's like,
I don't like you.
Well, so that's where we get is.
Yes.
So while all of this is going on, everyone else is. Bonnie's getting her neck
fighting for her
ripped
life.
out. Caroline is just at home going to bed, whatever.
Yep.
And Matt sneaks in the window, and they have their whole awkward conversation.
Yep.
And he admits he did sneak out. He said, "We cuddled. It creeped me out."
Yeah.
Which Caroline doesn't take well.
You love to hear that.
Yeah,
you love to hear it.
So he's got to soften that up. So then he says, "I don't like you. I never have."
So why would that not make things better?
Oh, and then to top that off, he says, "You were just all sad and alone. I felt bad for you." Matt,
Again,
he's the anti-Riz king. Matt, the anti-Riz king.
Yes. He has L-Riz. He is terrible.
If Damon is like, what did you call him? The Wizard of Waverly Place.
Yeah.
Like, Damon is like the king of Riz.
Yes.
Stefan, we've said, he has his minute moments. He's got tiny. Matt is negative Riz. No Riz. He takes the Riz that could have been there out of the room.
Yeah. No, really, yeah.
It's painful.
It's so bad. Oh, my God.
Why would you want to hear that? We cuddled. It creeped me out. That's so sad.
It's so bad.
Like, what was he even trying to get to? I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
It was so bad. Which obviously upsets Caroline.
Of course.
But they kind of get to a point.
They have, yeah.
I don't even know how she begins to accept that, but she's just kind of like, I think he says, with everything going on with my mom and she's gone, and everything going on with Vicky and she's gone, and I'm alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he says in so many words that she's also very clearly alone. But, like, I think in that moment she does sense, like, okay, like, maybe this isn't what I thought it was in terms of, like, we're dating now or whatever. But clearly we found some common ground and we understand each other. Yes, so they're going to start to explore whatever that might be. But in the meantime, Matt's going to constantly just knock her down and remind her that he doesn't even like her.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Caroline has that effect on people, though. We'll see. You hate her until the moment you're dating her. Like, out of nowhere.
Suddenly you're in love with her. Yeah, Caroline really, she does pull everyone in the show at some point, pretty much. So she makes it work.
Yeah.
But they're very reluctant about it 9 times out of 10 from the start.
Unfortunately,
like, almost every single person except for one character can I think of who's, like, pretty reluctant to spend time with Caroline.
Yeah.
From the get-go.
Yeah. She turns it around, though, always.
She does turn it around. Then they're always way obsessed with her, and she's like, I'm over it.
Yeah, she's like, no, I'm too good for you, and she's right.
She is right. Unfortunately, another person going through heartbreak, though.
Oh, my God.
Damon.
His face in this last scene kills me.
He's devastated.
Yes.
I really also love this Damon moment and this Damon episode because up until this point we'd been seeing him as angry, vengeful, schemy,
a murderer,
an abuser, always up to something bad, always doing something evil, always doing something villainous. And this is the first moment where he faces, like, loss. And he's devastated. Yes. He's devastated. He's just sitting there, like, he's been working for this very moment. And
for 145 years.
145 years. And in a second, a teenage witch destroyed it.
Yeah. It's so bad. And it breaks my heart. And then Stefan does come over to him for, like, a moment. And he says to Stefan, referencing their earlier conversation at the football field, Katherine never compelled me. Like, this was real for me. It was always real.
Yeah, I really loved her.
I knew everything. I always did. I loved her. Which, I wanted to mention this earlier, but this is something I always, like, think about in my mind, in my spare time, because I'm just always thinking about Vampire Diaries. I always wonder, like, what level of compulsion were they, and like how much do they really love her? But like,
yeah,
even if Damon was compelled to love her and maybe forget that he was compelled, doesn't matter.
Yeah,
he still feels it. Like, it's still very real.
I honestly don't believe that either of them were compelled to love her.
I know. See, I always think Stefan also just is like,
he's in denial.
Yes, exactly. He's just convincing himself that because it's easier.
I mean, the problem is, 100%, we see that they are compelled to not be afraid of her.
Right.
Which, could you really be in love with someone that you're afraid will kill you? Probably not.
No.
So I do think that, like, the compulsion that she does do to make them okay with the vampirism is, like, opens the door for the love being there, but I think they did really both fall in love with her.
Yeah. I always think so, too. I go back and forth, sometimes, especially with Stefan. But I think so, too. That's what I've come to conclude, I think.
Yeah. But I think, like, even with Damon, like, even if he was compelled to kind of not be as afraid of her, it wasn't as much of a barrier as it was for Stefan.
No. I mean, we see in, like, later flashbacks that he, like, fed from her a few times, like, before.
Damon willingly.
Yeah, Damon did willingly. Yeah, like, before he was even going to be turned. So I think Damon would have been okay with it, even if he wasn't compelled.
Yeah.
And his love is real, and we really see that in this moment.
It's so sad. So really he's just devastated, and he ends his sort of little moment by saying that he will leave town now.
Yeah.
Which, that doesn't happen, so we'll see what happens next.
How that gets there, yeah.
But yeah, he ends the episode by saying he will leave town now.
Yes. So does Stefan.
Yes.
He and Elena have a little conversation, and I think Stefan or Elena seeing Stefan heal Bonnie was a big game changer for her. At least I think that's all what I always chalk it up to. And she goes to Stefan and she says, I can do this. Like, I can be with you.
Yeah, I can handle it.
Yeah. But Stefan, for seemingly no reason really, is like, I can't.
Yeah.
I have to leave town.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He says he has to leave town. So I think the reason is he realizes, like, in the way that Elena in that moment realizes he's a protector and that he's so much more, I always say durable, but, like, he's durable. You know, like, Elena has suffered so many losses. At this point, only her parents, but that's such a major one as a 17-year-old.
Yes.
That, like, he's this person that's not just going to go away. And he can heal the people around her. And for her, that's really important. And then for him, he's experiencing the opposite, where he sees one of her best friends almost died that night. Yes. And he realizes it's his fault that all of this, like, death and destruction is coming into her life. And so that's the reason that they're both on opposite pages, I think. But it's just so annoying how they both flip-flop every single episode. I know. They do the same debate at the end of every single episode, and they're both on opposite sides. Every episode.
No, I know. Yeah, I do understand Stefan's rationale here, but I also don't, because, I don't know. It's silly.
It's silly. And the other thing here is, I think a big game changer for Elena is, of course, the lying was, like, a big thing.
Right.
And Bonnie knows now.
Yes, yeah, she tells Stefan in this conversation also that she's going to tell Bonnie everything. Yeah. Bonnie obviously knew about
she already knows
the witch powers,
at this point.
But and she did sort of see Damon, so she's probably going to piece it together anyway.
Yeah.
But Elena says, I'm telling her everything.
The other thing I was wondering, can witches even be compelled? I don't think they can.
They can't. At least that's what they say later on.
When Damon bit her, it's like, they couldn't have even taken away. She needs answers.
Yeah.
So, and she's a witch. She has just as much,
she's already in it. She's already in the world.
She is owed that information just as much as anybody else.
Right.
So, and if she didn't get told by Elena, Grams probably would have explained it to her.
Yeah.
So, I think that's the big game changer for Elena is that, okay, somebody else is in on this with me, and somebody else can, like, be a part of this with me, and that takes, like, a huge relief off for her. Yeah. So Bonnie's in it now. Stefan's out of it. He walks away off into the distance, and Elena does her classic Elena line, Stefan. She just yells out into the woods, Stefan.
She's such a good scream.
Just the way she does the, like, Stefan, don't. It's wild.
Yeah.
But then we get the ending scene. Last little, like, song and montage moment that seems to happen in a lot of these Vampire Diaries episodes at the very end. In this one, it's sort of a sad song, but the only people that aren't sad is Caroline and Matt. She's gotten every snack out of her kitchen.
Yep.
And they're in bed, and, they're going to spend the night together again. So, good for them.
Yeah.
Then we've got Damon, who's sitting at the church ruins.
Devastated.
He looks miserable.
Heartbroken.
Then we've got Stefan, who who's also miserable, but we have to laugh because he picks up his diary, looks at a page, and then throws it at the wall and then starts, like, sobbing.
Yes.
So, I don't know. He has a right to be sad, but it's just dramatic.
It's very dramatic.
Then we've got Elena, who's talking to Bonnie and presumably telling her everything, and they're both crying, which is fair.
And then they bring it in for a hug.
They're so
Love
cute.
their friendship.
The best of friends, and I'm glad that they finally have each other in what they're going through, you know?
Yes.
It's nice to have a friend.
It is.
Then we've got back, also at the Gilbert house, I guess, we have Aunt Jenna, who has seen the boxes that Jeremy's pulled out, and she pulls out, there's a picture of her and Logan.
Yes.
And she rips it up, which tells us she's done with him. She's moved on.
She's moved on.
She's over the heartbreak. Yeah.
Sliding in.
I mean, okay, I will say, I love Alaric Saltzman.
Me too.
If I were Jenna living in this, like, small town and a guy like him,
God, yeah.
he's a teacher, he's, like, educated and, like, handsome, I would be all over that.
Yes,
so,
agreed.
Fair, I would also be ripping up a picture of my ex who sucks.
Yeah,
So,
exactly, yeah.
She's doing great. And then, ding dong, the doorbell rings. Guess who's at the door?
Oh, it's Logan Fell, back with a vengeance, who, as we know, was killed by Damon, I think we concluded.
Yes.
So, obviously, he's a vampire.
Yeah, this is such a great moment on a first watch. It's not as fun on a rewatch, but it's still pretty good. And his last line, the very last line of the episode is, "Hello, Jenna, aren't you going to invite me in?" Which is pretty indicative of he's a vampire.
Yes. Jenna doesn't know, but
Jenna doesn't know. But as a viewer, you're like, whoa, we saw him die. What's going on?
Yep.
And then immediately he says, "Are you going to invite me in?" Which is like, okay, he's a vampire.
Yes.
Confirmation.
Yes.
So, really dramatic ending to this episode.
Very. And that obviously sets up the entire plot for the next episode. Gotta see what the heck happened with Logan.
Yeah.
How did he come back to life as a vampire?
Yeah. Lots to learn.
Yes.
Lots to know.
Yes.
I'm so happy we're finally in, like, the thick of it. We're finally, like, in some plot points.
Yes.
And I'm like, let's just turn around and watch the next one right now. I'm ready.
No, exactly.
I love it.
Yes.
But the good things are no deaths in this episode.
Yes. For our in memoriam section, no deaths. Damon has sworn off killing, so there were no deaths.
Pretty much try to kill Bonnie.
He did try to kill Bonnie, but
so always at least one attempted
she
murder.
dodged that bullet. Yeah. She's
unsuccessful.
Good. Yeah.
Unfortunately, some bullets that were not dodged are out-of-pocket moments. I have two characters that come to mind for the way that they treat two other characters.
Interesting. I do too, but the way you're phrasing it makes me think they're not going to be the same.
Well, no, I think they have to be the same. The first is just everything Caroline does to Bonnie.
Of course, yes.
And the second is everything Matt does to Caroline.
Oh, see, interesting. I was thinking, well, I guess actually both of those. I would even say Matt's more out of pocket than Caroline.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to give a little shout out to Mr. Tanner's jackass file.
That's pretty good.
So out of pocket.
That's pretty good.
Why is he doing that?
Yeah, that's not a thing a teacher should be at all allowed to do.
You should not be thinking any, like, teenager is a jackass. And if you do...
Also, a teenager who lost their parents.
Yes, exactly.
That's the worst part of it.
But just
But even then, they're 16 years old, 15 years old, 14 years old.
Yeah.
You are the person that's supposed to be helping teach them how to, like, be an adult, to be, like, a person, and instead you're just going to, like, vilify them, and I don't know. It's just weird.
It is weird. So that was out of pocket for me.
Can't believe Mr. Tanner came back from the dead with an out-of-pocket nomination. Yeah. That was really bold of him.
It really was. That's why it was so out of pocket.
I guess that's pretty good. But I just can't get past...
No, you're right, though.
Caroline and Bonnie and Matt to Caroline.
Yeah, basically everything surrounding Caroline. But I think I gotta hand it to Matt. It's just that I don't like you. We talked about all these quotes before. But
it's so good. It's just how backhanded it all is.
It's all so bad. But at the same time, you're like, thank you. I guess.
Yeah, because that's the thing that makes it, I think, so out of pocket. Caroline is trying to be rude to Bonnie. She's mad at her, so she is specifically being rude to her.
Yes.
Matt likes Caroline, or is at least trying to spend time with her.
Yes.
And is like, I don't like you,
I don't like you. It creeps me out that we, like...
that we cuddled.
That we were cuddling. Yeah.
Yeah, so, Matt,
out
of pocket.
It's Matt. He's the most out of pocket. As for best quote, though, I think for me, I only have one real nomination. There weren't, like, a ton of quotes that I really loved in this episode. But the one for me, I just love Damon. I love that final scene where we get to see him really heartbroken. And just that bit where he says, "It was real for me." The whole surrounding quote, but especially that little sentence, "It was real for me."
Cute.
I don't know. I always pick the sentimental choices.
Yeah, I was going to say, we went really opposite, because mine was, "I don't like you, I never have." That was my best quote.
I mean, I think
it's just so funny.
I think it should be that one, just because it keeps with the out-of-pocket moment. Yeah.
I like that Damon one, though. That is really cute.
I do really like his...
Maybe this one's a tie.
It's a tie.
Nobody said... We make the rules.
Yeah, who says it can't be a tie?
It's a tie.
It's a tie.
Yeah. I don't like you, I never have,
and it was real for me. Actually, complete opposite quotes, basically.
Which is why they both need to be winners.
Exactly.
It really shows the difference from Matt to Damon.
Yes.
Very different energies.
Watch out, ladies.
Two types of men. That is so... lesson to learn there.
Yes.
Our last category is this song of the episode, the best song.
Yeah.
Not a huge song episode.
Yeah.
There's not anything that's like really big in like, Vampire Diaries memory or anything. Really the only one that even stuck out for me was the ending song.
Yes.
That's Come Back When You Can by Barcelona.
Yeah. I did really love that song. And in fact, it's at the end of the episode, and it was getting toward the episode, and I was like, I don't have a song. So I was going to nominate the scoring, which you talked about earlier. Because the scoring is very good.
Okay, I thought about that too.
Yeah, I was like, I might have no other choice. But I do really like Come Back When You Can.
Yeah. I think if we could give it to the scoring, I would. But I don't know if it counts for
I don't know
our
if
categories.
it counts either.
Because, you know what? We can't even put it in our Spotify playlist.
Exactly. That's the most important reason why I can't.
So I think we're going to give it to Come Back When You Can by Barcelona.
I think that's good.
Yes. Yeah. And you can listen to our Spotify playlist. Yes. It is all linked in our link tree everywhere. And we put each song from each episode that wins the song of the episode. So go give a listen to that.
Yes.
And you can also go to our TikTok and our Instagram and follow us at the Rippah Diaries podcast. You can also listen to us.
Yes. Yes, I see the cue now, a little too late. Yes, if you have seen enough of the Instagram and TikTok and want even more, which you're already watching this, but you can watch this on YouTube at the Rippah Diaries, and you can listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
Also the Rippah Diaries.
And some other places where you get your podcast. Sometimes I've just found it some other places.
You never know where we'll crop up.
Yeah. But for now, this has been Season 1, Episode 9, History Repeating.
Yes. And next week, we have Season 1, Episode 10,
The Turning Point. Very excited. We're at a real turning point in the season.
We are. Things are getting very intriguing.
Yes. Thanks for watching or listening to this one. Bye.
Bye.